Welcome back to the Seven Deadly Sins Anime Review, episode number 10. Yes, the anime reviews reach episode 10, while the specials hit 50. Well, there's a kind of an explanation for that. One thing, when I started watching the series, I wasn't exactly like. When I started watching the series a couple years ago, I wasn't like what I was doing nowadays, where I do like a handful of episodes and do a quick review of that. Back then, I was simply doing an entire frickin' season. Yes, that's the only reason why there's not that high amount of videos for this particular review series when it comes to the main stuff. Because it's more for the manga, because that comes out weekly. Yep. Now, in the case of this particular review, I'm reviewing the 54th episode of the anime Memories of Holy War, which adapts chapters 198 to supposedly 201, but no. It does that from 198 to 200. Yeah, mostly anyways, except for 198, they actually skipped a few pages. 199 and 200, yep, definitely did adapt these two chapters fully. 201, they adapted the first 8 pages. hmm Now, I did hear about the censoring stuff. Oh, yes. And there is censoring here, so you don't see Diane completely naked. She is censored along with King. Now, I'm not really sure. Now, I'm sure that when this is released on Netflix, this probably would not be censored. Either now, I'm not sure why Studio Dean did this for. They added steam to this particular spring, even though it doesn't have steam. It's not a freaking hot spring. It's just a freaking pond that King just happened to be bathing in, and Deanne just happened to show up in. They talked for a while about how King's wings not exactly growing. Yep, and they're there for a little bit, and then we cut to them talking on the on the fairy forest tree, the big one. They talked there for a good period of time. Apparently, it said they've been a month. Now, apparently, they don't know the fact Melios is alive. Yeah, they have no idea about that. They do talk about Galaxala, the first the previous the first fairy king, and Doxel, the former king of the giants. There's not been a ruler of giants in quite some time. I would say probably the closest one is Deanne's adopted mother, who does appear in this episode. hmm They do add some lines here and there because mostly after watching the episode, I looked up in the manga, see that a lot of the stuff in the anime did match what had in the manga. Like in the anime, it seems like they add a lot of lines to some of the stuff, like the habits where the end just shows up. They do add a line in here, which I do appreciate them doing that because this is a minor change. That Melikala, the adopted mother at the end, tells, "Watch out, just watch your step because her kids are running around with, well, King's dog." hmm Yeah, that line was actually not in the manga. Nope, that is completely anime original. Yep, and then they start having like this fairy festival, start dancing. Now they do add a little line here where Deanne asks King about dancing. He says, "Yeah, sure," and he does. So he this tiny little hand grabs on Deanne's big finger, and they start dancing for a while, and then, well, the advisor mentions prior to the dance that thought someone was sent someone watching her. Doesn't know what it is. Like she couldn't describe it. And then she sees, like later on during the dance, she sees the first fairy king. Apparently, it's implied these two were an item in the past at some point. And then King and Deanne disappear. Yep. Now they actually cut out a few pages to happen right after this because for some reason they decided to cut it out for I don't know why. It's like they're on this moment for like 10 seconds and then we go straight to where King and Deanne are. Yeah, I have no idea why Studio Dean did this for. It's particularly very weird. And then pretty much at this point we have like the stuff like this point we have King and Deanne fighting Galaxala, the first fairy king, and Doxel. Yeah, this is pretty much spot on. Like exactly like everything they do in this particular scene is exact from the manga. Of course, you have a little more censoring here. Now, in the case of King, it's not that bad. The slice is pretty much accurate to how it was in the manga because he gets sliced in his freaking back, like almost like two slash here and two slash there. It's the same slash, except in the manga it's actually a lot more gorier. And for Deanne's case, She got beaten to a freaking pulp in the manga. In the anime, it's like she got like blood on her lip and a little bit of bruises. And I'm like, really? That's it? Like, my guess is probably the anime probably did not want to be accused of seeing a woman getting the crap beaten out of her. That's my personal. But why cut down King's wound? They basically have it where he gets healed, and then they have it where no, they do actually they had the scene last a little bit longer. They had like little moments here and there about they have these two training them to become proper warriors, and they had to say and they chant now the chant they have here that when they came to the past, that's complete anime original, and then they go to the past and pretty much from this point it's like straight on like no change here like everyone's looking like King's looking in the water and he's Gaxo. Yeah, it's kind of explained later that basically they're basically those two people they just fought in the present day, but they're in their memories of the events. Then they run into Meliodas, who's like, "Hey, did you tell me?" They're like, "What?" Now there is a very big change for this particular scene. In the manga, the sword was a little bit long. It's like pretty. It's a very like triangle shaped sword. In the anime, it's freaking huge. Like apparently they censor they censor the gore, the violence when it comes to these two. But we have to have a freaking giant sword, like it's as tall as a castle. As for why in the world this was changed, now Meliodas' outfit it has a slight change to it. I think they made it a little bit shorter, show up a little more skin, and they got rid of the scar that was on his hip. Yeah, that's gone. That's not here in the anime. But mostly it's the same outfit except with some minor cosmetic changes. Though they do depict it as green in the anime. Now this particular outfit that Meliodas is wearing, this I did see in some of the teaser stuff related to this particular season. Yes, the fact Meliodas was going to wear this outfit. And we see Elizabeth. Her, from what I can tell, they do have a slight change to her outfit, but it does look a little bit different. And they go out and they run. And of course, King points out that this is not the Britannia they know. This is like 3,000 years past. Like, I would say probably at the time of the Holy War. And then we see the one-sided massacre. Yep. And then the episode, like, and you see Meliodas is slicing 19 bunch of demons. Elizabeth, you see a little bit of action for her. Well, the goddess Elizabeth. Yeah, this is her first appearance outside of the manga. Yeah, first time in anime form that we see the goddess Elizabeth. Because it's later revealed that Princess Elizabeth in present day is her reincarnation. She's reincarnated 3 different times over the course of this, they mentioned. Like, they reincarnated as a savage, and of course as Liz, who was a soldier from the previous kingdom that Meliodas worked for that was destroyed by a freaking demon, who turned out to be one of who later possessed Dreyfus. Yeah, that particular one. And of course, this was the current reincarnation. Now here's the thing about the other two. They all have different hair color. Though for Elizabeth, she's back being blonde again. Yes. We also see Meliodas as Demo, which that is true. Yes. And then the episode ends quite awkwardly. Now in the manga, the ending is a little bit anime original in a way, but when they first see this guy in the manga, you have King and Deanne being chased with this guy. In the anime, it ends with him introducing himself as basically, I think he's supposed to be if I remember correctly, I think this guy's supposed to be the same sin as Dro was supposed to be. Yeah, and of course they do confirm in the episode when after they have their recovery that Gaso and Daro basically are not demons, and they basically want to explain why they're doing this, why they joined Ten Commandments in the first place, and that's the whole point of this arc. Basically, explain that. The arc itself is roughly 19 chapters. This episode roughly adapted about the first 3 chapters of the arc, and started adapting like chapter 201. Now I kind of think this arc probably will take about, I'd say about 5 episodes at the latest. Yeah, I'd say about 5 episodes at most to adapt this entire arc. Yeah, that's probably what the first 5 episodes of the season is going to be. Well, it's probably going to take episodes 2 through 6 because the first episode is just basically covering something missed from chapter 197 and a little bit of 225. That's mostly what the first episode was. This one basically we're going straight into the memories of the Holy War, which is arc itself in the manga was not very long at all. Like I said, 19 chapters. I mean, it's not as long as New Holy War, which that was like nearly 60 chapters, which it's the longest arc of the whole series. Yep. But this episode is still pretty good, unlike last week, which it was okay. But this episode was a lot better. Though, I think we're going to focus on King of the End for a little while, so my guess is now, it's been suggested this particular season is going to last roughly 24 episodes, which is the same amount we had for the first seasons. Okay, so we're going to have the first episode just be like, finish up one thing and just show off like a brief skirmish and then briefly somewhat together in a way. And then we have this episode just continuing where, like, starting up the official arc. It's like, first episode was set up. This episode is basically the kind of like the official start of the season, in a way. Yeah, so this arc probably wrapped up by episode 6. Yes. So we're probably going to go through about a few arcs this season. Yes. Last season went through about, I think it was about 4 or 5 arcs. Yeah, though that particular season covered roughly, I kid you not, like almost 97 chapters. This season so far has only covered fully about 3 chapters so far, and it's only been 2 episodes. Yeah. But not much else to say about this particular episode. It's pretty good. I mean, I like the fact that they're keeping a lot of stuff from the manga, though they actually do add some lines here that are basically anime original. Lines in the manga, I would say that there's no change from the stuff they brought from the manga. It's just mostly a lot of the stuff is basically anime original, probably because the stuff they show in the manga there's probably not a lot of dialogue, and they probably need more dialogue here. Okay, fine. Next week we're going to continue this stuff with "Let There Be Light." Yeah, a quote from the Book of Genesis. Yep. But yeah, that's it for this particular review. I have one more review I'm hoping to do today, and I'll be reviewing the newest episode of Fire Force. Yep. We'll do the next review. Bye.